Hi, thank you for joining me on another video. Today we're discussing sport participants as consumers. Millions of Americans participate in a variety of physical activities each year. Sport marketers care about sport participants because they are a large and growing market. To successfully compete in the expanding sports participant market, sport organizations want to understand participant consumption behavior and what affects it. The primary reason for understanding the participant decision making process is to guide the rest of the strategic sports marketing process. Participant decision making is a complex cognitive process that helps sport marketers develop strategies that fit with consumers' needs. The first step in the participant decision making process is problem recognition, which occurs when consumers identify a need that is not currently being met due to a significant discrepancy between desire and actual states of participation, and the recognition of a problem and then the motivation to resolve it depend on the size of this discrepancy between the current and the desired states, as well as the importance of addressing that discrepancy. For problem recognition to lead to decision making, the discrepancy between the current and desired states must be significant enough, and the goal of resolving the discrepancy must be important to the consumer. Problem recognition in sport marketing involves identifying the gap between consumers' actual and desired states, and then addressing this gap by offering activities and altering the perceptions of the ideal state to meet consumers' needs. The extent of the information search is influenced by the perceived risk associated with the decision, which includes social, economic, and safety concerns related to the potential negative outcomes of making the wrong choice. Sport marketers then need to thoroughly understand the information sources used by consumers and the perceived risk associated with participation to develop effective promotional strategies targeting both teams and individual participants. After gathering information, consumers are going to evaluate the alternatives by narrowing down their choices to a subset of options known as the evoked set of alternatives, which include the sports they will ultimately consider further. Consumers evaluate their evoked sets of alternatives based on specific evaluative criteria, which each criterion then is going to hold a different level of importance in the decision making process. In complex decision making, the consumer evaluates each sport against important criteria such as aggression levels, um, is it a team sport, is it an individual sport, and then they will make their final decision, ultimately choosing the sport that best fits their needs. And the evaluation of alternative highlights two key considerations for us sport marketers: ensuring that our sports are included in the box set, and understanding the evaluative criteria used by consumers to develop strategies that meet these criteria. For example, recreational and league bowlers have distinct evaluative criteria, with recreational bowlers prioritizing facilities and amenities, while league bowlers focus on location and lane conditions. The participation decision involves more than choosing a sport. It includes consideration about equipment, apparel, venue, which sport marketers must understand to effectively address participant needs. Unexpected events and changes, such as social influences or logistical issues, can alter the final decision to participate in a sport, impacting the decision making process at the participation stage. Then there is post participation evaluation, particularly something called cognitive dissonance. And this plays an important role in the decision making process, as consumers may experience doubts and anxiety about their choices, influencing their continuation or their withdrawal. Post participation evaluation involves comparing their expectations with actual experiences to determine satisfaction or dissatisfaction, which significantly affects future participation or also word of mouth communication. The decision making process for sports participation can be categorized into three types: habitual problem solving, limited problem solving, and extensive problem solving. Based on the level of thought and effort involved, habitual problem solving involves minimal information search and evaluation relying on past experiences to make routine decisions about sport participation. Limited problem solving involves recognizing a problem, conducting a brief search for information, and evaluating a few alternatives with basic criteria, and typically results in minimal dissonance and evaluation after the decision. Extensive problem solving involves a thorough decision making process characterized by extensive information search, evaluation of numerous alternatives, and high levels of post purchase dissonance and evaluation. Now, understanding the type of problem solving process used by participants, whether habitual or extensive, is crucial for marketers to develop and implement effective marketing strategies. Marketing strategies, if I say that, all the way through marketing strategies. Now, there's also internal psychological factors such as personality, motivation, learning, perceptions, and these are vital in guiding individuals' sport participation decisions. Personality is a set of consistent responses an individual makes to the environment, and it impacts sport participation, including the choice of sports and the extent of involvement. Personality traits, such as being aggressive, orderly, or nurturing, influence a person's likelihood of participating in specific sports, with traits like self assurance and assertiveness correlating with participation in various sports, including both individual and team sports. Then there's also personality traits such as venturesome, yes, an actual-oriented nature, significantly influence sport participation preferences, with Generation Xers gravitating towards high-risk, fast-paced activities. And golfers, for example, typically identify with traits like responsibility and self-confidence, despite this being an individual sport. Personality not only influences whether individuals participate in sports, but also affects their choice of sport, with different personality types gravitating towards specific sports. And understanding these links is going to help us marketers tailor our strategies and attract suitable sponsors. People participate in sports for a variety of reasons relating to fulfilling multiple needs and motivation. And understanding these motivations, ranging from personal achievement to social benefits, can help analyze and promote sport participation. Let's talk about motivation here for a second. Motivation drives behavior towards fulfilling unmet needs. Let's think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which consists of five levels, and it explains that individuals must fulfill basic needs before progressing to higher level needs. And in this framework, which can be applied to understanding motivation for participating in sports, Maslow's hierarchy of needs starts with physiological needs, such as the need for exercise and activity, and it progresses to safety needs, including physical safety and health, which sports equipment manufacturers and health clubs address, the need for love and belonging, including social interaction and group affiliation, which drives most people to participate in sports, as sports provide a crucial outlet for social engagement and team involvement. And as these social needs are met, individuals turn to sports to address esteem needs, seeking recognition, enhanced self image with activities like bungee jumping, exemplifying how participation in extreme sports can boost self esteem and alter personal image. Self actualization also represents the highest level of need, which is fulfilled through participation in challenging sports that push people to their physical and mental limits, such as ultra marathons, triathlons, Olympic training. And understanding the different levels of needs that consumers seek to fulfill through sport participation allows us to tailor our strategies effectively, addressing various needs such as physiological, safety, social, esteem, and self actualization. Needs can be understood through two concepts: motive direction, which involves moving towards a positive goal or away from a negative outcome, and motive strength, which influences how strongly a consumer pursues those goals in the context of sport participation. The strength of a sport participation motive, which is crucial for sport marketers, is reflected in the level of sport involvement, defined as the perceived interest and personal importance of sports to an individual. Extreme sports involvement, such as that of triathletes, can significantly impact an individual's life, leading to both positive effects like improved self esteem and also improved wellness, and negative consequences, though, such as neglect responsibilities, increased feelings of guilt and stress. Sports involvement is a valuable predictor of sports related behaviors such as participation, duration of the participation, media consumption, and understanding it can help sport marketers tailor strategies for both low and high involvement groups. The image people have of sports is subjective and it varies based on individual past experiences, needs, wants, expectations. An individual's safe image of sport is shaped by a lifetime of exposure to various sources of information, which they selectively filter based on their own worldview, and this influences their decisions about participation. Perception, which involves selecting, organizing, and interpreting information based on past experiences, significantly influences consumer behavior in sport, and sport marketing aims to shape these perceptions. To effectively influence consumer perceptions, then sport marketers must first capture attention through targeted promotions and innovative communication strategies. And a selective attention causes consumers to then focus on stimuli that aligns with their personal needs and interests. Consumer perceptions are influenced by their individuals' experiences, their attitudes, their needs, leading to that selective interpretation where people view sports in ways that align with their previous beliefs and their values. Selective retentions are going to affect that perception by causing individuals to remember only the information that aligns with those preferences or with those positive experiences while then forgetting less favorable details. So, sport marketers can influence consumer perceptions of sports by understanding their existing views, capturing their attention, and using targeted marketing strategies to reinforce or alter those perceptions. Sport marketers aim to understand and shape consumers' perceptions by exploring various aspects of how they view advertisements, promotional materials, and the associated costs of the sports. Then there is learning as a psychological factor, which influences sport participation and decisions through behavioral, cognitive, and social learning processes, each affecting how individuals gather information and form responses related to sports. Operant conditioning, which is a behavioral learning theory, is significant for sport marketers as it demonstrates how behaviors are associated with consequences, influencing consumers' responses to sport marketing efforts. Operant conditioning explains how participation in sports, such as snowboarding, for example, is influenced by the consequences of behavior, either discouraging continued participation through negative experiences or encouraging it through positive rewards. Operant conditioning explains sports loyalty by showing that continued participation is driven by the reinforcement of positive experiences and the reduction of negative consequences, which sport marketing aims to achieve by enhancing rewards and minimizing drawbacks. Then there is cognitive learning, which involves learning through problem solving and insight rather than just past experiences. It plays a crucial role in how we acquire knowledge and skills, and cognitive learning involves setting goals, exploring various activities to achieve those goals, and gaining insight into which specific activities are effective in reaching the desired outcomes, such as, let's say, weight loss. So, sport marketers should use cognitive learning principles to understand potential participants' goals and effectively communicate how their sport products can help achieve those goals. Also, there is social learning, which involves observing how others are rewarded or punished, and it significantly influences our choice of sports and our learning of how to participate in them. So, sport marketers should use positive role models to present sports in an appealing way, thereby influencing potential participants by showcasing the benefits of sports through, let's say, admire figures. Consumers develop aptitudes? No, attitudes. Consumers develop attitudes towards sports participation based on learned thoughts, feelings, and behaviors, which are influenced by both positive and negative aspects of sport. Attitudes are crucial in guiding sports participation decisions as they are formed through the interaction of past experiences and the surrounding environment. Attitudes toward a sport are shaped by the interaction of three components: cognitive, affective, and behavioral. The cognitive component of attitude involves the beliefs and the thoughts of individuals about sport, which can vary widely and influence the overall perception of the sport. The affective component of attitude centers on the emotional responses or the feelings individuals have towards the sport, which also play a crucial role in shaping the overall attitudes. And then the behavioral component of attitude is going to focus on actual participation in a sport and the frequency of participation, as well as the person's intentions to engage in the sports in the future. To effectively maintain or increase sports participations, sport marketers can develop strategies to improve or alter these attitudes, including changing beliefs, repositioning the image of the sport, encouraging trial participation. There are other strategies that we can try. There's also sociological factors. External influences such as culture, social class, reference groups, family, all of this affects sport participation decisions. Sport participations has been a long standing and valued tradition, with other cultures now trying to emulate the sport participation patterns that we can see in the United States. Now, as a reminder, culture is a set of learned values and traditions that are passed down through generations, and it plays an important role in socialization for sports participation. And sport marketers, we are interested in understanding and influencing these consumer socialization processes. Sports socialization, which starts at an increasingly younger age and then continues through the life of an individual, is influenced by factors such as gender, income, family lifestyle, and the number of children. Sport marketers then seek to understand these differences in the socialization process because we're interested in understanding the impact of various socializing agents, such as parents, professional athletes, on these children's sport participations, as these agents play a significant role in shaping these children's interests in sports. And then these children are going to grow up and spend their money on sport, right? So observation and reinforcement are key factors in sport socialization processes, with observation involving looking at role models, and reinforcement involving receiving praise for sport participation. The emergence of a socialized sport participant who becomes actively engaged in sports is important for us marketers, as early as sport participation can lead to a lifelong engagement and brand loyalty. And values are widely held beliefs about what is desirable in a culture and play a vital role in shaping cultural priorities and attitudes, with American values focusing on freedom and individual rights, while other cultures, such as, let's say, the Swedish culture, emphasize openness, security, and collective problem solving. There are some core values such as fitness and health, activity, achievement, success that are closely linked to sport participation here in the United States, and they influence how Americans engage and prioritize sports and leisure activities. While not directly related, though, other core US values such as individualism, youthfulness, charitable giving also influence sport participation by affecting the types of sports chosen and the reasons for participating. Then there's social class, a hierarchical division of people based on shared values, lifestyles, behaviors, determined by factors such as occupation, income, education, possessions, and affiliations. And sport marketers are interested in social class because it helps predict sport participation and the type of sports consumers are likely to engage in. Reference groups significantly influence sport participation by shaping information, attitudes, behaviors, as illustrated by classic advertising slogans that leverage the appeal of athletes to affect consumer choices. Aspirational reference groups, which include famous athletes, significantly influence sport participation and consumer purchases, though some athletes might reject the idea or even the responsibility of becoming role models. Friends and coworkers as primary reference group have a significant influence on sport participation due to their frequent contact and the power they hold to shape our decisions. Family is a primary reference group with a profound impact on sport participation as family members often influence each other's decisions about sport activities as well as other lifestyle and life activities both directly and indirectly. Traditionally, fathers have had the most significant influence on their children's sport participation, especially in activities they themselves enjoyed, but this influence is diminished lately as family structures have evolved and the traditional family structure characterized by a single income household with a stay at home mother and a working father has largely disappeared, giving way to modern family arrangements such as dual income families, single parents, and diverse household configurations. Modern family structures, such as dual income household and single parent families, are influencing sport participation patterns and also demand for sport products, leading to targeted offers like short workout programs, home exercise equipment. And this is leading us to accommodate varying time and financial constraints. Single parent families can limit children's participation in organized sports, but shifting gender roles are also leading to more women taking on roles traditionally held by men and more fathers encouraging their daughters to participate in sports. So everything is shifting. Situational factors, unlike permanent psychological and sociological factors, are temporary aspects specific to a particular time or place that influence the decision making process for sport participation. Situational influences on participant behavior are temporary and can affect decisions about sport participation based on specific circumstances, such as social events, weather condition, or time constraints. Consumer researchers have identified five key situational influences: physical surroundings, social surroundings, time, reason for participation, and antecedent states that affect decision making in sport participation. Physical surroundings, including the weather, the location, and the overall environment, significantly impact sport participation decisions. And sport marketers must consider these factors to effectively promote sport participation. Now, let's talk a little bit about social surroundings or the presence and influence of others. This can impact participation decisions one way or another. The presence of crowds can have varying effects on participation, with some people avoiding activities in crowded environments, while others find motivation and enjoyment in participating among larger groups of people. Then there's time constraints that are exacerbated by modern family structures and increasing time pressures. And this influences sport participation as well, often leading people to feel they lack sufficient time or physical activity for physical activity. In response to time constraints, sport marketers are focusing on making participation activities more efficient and enjoyable, such as promoting faster golf play and shorter high intensity workouts, as well as expanding the home fitness equipment industry. Task definition or the reasons behind participation significantly affect the decision making process, with consumers engaging in sports like jet skiing or scuba diving based on specific occasions or unique events. The occasion for participating in a sport influences the decision to participate, the choice of sports apparel, the equipment used, etc. Antecedent states, which are temporary psychological and mood condition, can also influence sport participation. Situational mood states, such as feeling stressed, tired, or hungry, can influence whether or not we choose to participate in sports or exercise. Antecedent states, such as mood or psychological conditions, influence our decision making by affecting how we respond to the prospect of participating in sports. I'm so glad to join me today. I will see you in class. Read that chapter. This is the chapter on consumers as sport participants. If you're not my student and you hung with me for, over 20 minutes on this video, I hope you will come back and you will continue to join me for videos on how to create thriving, healthy organizations that can persevere and be self supporting in this dynamic sport industry.